All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic. No more evident than it is today, but we're going to get into that. Before we do Fat Man Zoom, how about we get to the starting five?
Sean Ethier, Savvy Money Show, Joe Leonard, Oliver Thorpe, and Zane Khan. Let's try that again. Sean Ethier, Savvy Money Show, Joe Leonard. Just leave it on there.
It's autofocus. Hold on.
Joe Leonard, Oliver Thorpe, and Zane Khan.
Nope, still being it.
We'll just leave it on that. We don't need the other one. Guys, welcome to On the Chaos. We got a lot of topics to go over today.
Yeah.
Market obviously took a dip, but we've got a ton of earnings and nothing can turn around a market like some awesome earnings. So we'll see what happens today for 4 o'clock Eastern time. We have Nuvei, Disney, Affirm, Opendoor, Wish, BYND, Beyond Meat, and Tattooed Chef. If you guys are interested in any other ones, let us know. Just put them in the chat. We'll certainly add it to what we're watching, but we're going to be watching a lot of stuff. However, there's other headlines that are going on. Obviously, the Rivian IPO we'll be discussing further as well. A couple other things. So,
Yep.
But I think the main thing right now is the market just kind of took a turn. And I mean, how bad was it for you?
It was pretty bad. I'm down quite a bit, but I'm not shaken by it. I was expecting this kind of move, to be honest with you. I figured the CPI numbers were going to be way overblown.
As everybody says, hey, Brad, wish you would have told me that yesterday. I'm just kidding.
I mean, we've been talking about these numbers, and didn't we talk about how the 10-year just seemed like it was weird that it was way down here?
Yeah, but we didn't give them any indication that we thought today would be red like this.
But I was expecting the CPI numbers to be higher than what was expected because economists are idiots.
Yeah.
At least the ones that run that show. These are the same economists that expected 1 million jobs in September, and then we ended up with 500,000 jobs, and then we ended up with like half of that. So it's just like nothing was shocking here.
Yeah. Well, Bluto Blatarski asked the question, did you buy the dip?
Not yet. I just sat on my hands. Haven't bought anything yet.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much did the same thing. I didn't even look at my account, but like one time I was like, I don't really care how bad it is. Usually like sell-offs like this could potentially lead to some continuation, and like there's really no point for me, at least. We're talking about it's Wednesday. Maybe tomorrow, hopefully we have a decent day, or even if there's a little bit more selling off, like Friday would be the day for me to potentially look at some opportunities.
Yeah.
But there's also the possibility, especially if we do have some strong earnings and some optimism, you have a red day like this, you could see a pretty strong comeback. So I think a lot's going to be, I don't want to say a lot, but I think some of it could be predicated on if we have some good numbers today in earnings, because we have some key earnings. You think about Disney, when you think about the economy, that could be a good indicator, especially if they talk about parks reopening, Affirm, retail spending, they could discuss about that, and Opendoor, real estate. So like we have a lot of topics that could be covered in earnings that could go in a bullish way if they have a strong earnings call.
Yeah, SoFi as well. So some good stuff there. I think we've been talking about this inflation issue for, it seems like a year now at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it's just alarming to me to see that the 10-year yield's going up 10% in a day. Pretty wild stuff.
Yeah.
So I think this is an overreaction.
Yeah.
Today in particular is an overreaction. And the thing about those CPI numbers that we saw was that they're old. They're past tense. So we could see some of that stuff change in the coming months, especially as demand continues to be what it is and people are willing to pay for that. I don't think demand's going to get crushed, and that's what's happening. So the 10-year yield's going up because the Treasury and investors are thinking that the economy is going to start slowing down. I don't think that is actually going to happen, and so I still think that it's best to be have your risk in equities more so than anything else.
Yeah, and I actually mentioned this in level 3 this morning, and I don't want to act like I knew this was coming because I did not, but it was just more of general, the market's been hot and it's been ready, for one of these days. But I mentioned having some dry powder, having some cash on hand. And it's just interesting to see like the people who do have that available, and some don't consider that. But these are great opportunities. If you have some dry powder, use some of that bad boy. So I, for one, have a decent amount of dry powder. So this could present a good opportunity for me. What would you be looking at on a dip buy opportunity?
Right now, I think I would be looking to, and we've talked about this too. I think the banks, in particular, Visa, has been doing really well. That's one of the few green ones today.
Yeah.
So as far as the dip is concerned, things that have sold off, I would stay away from any of the high multiple stuff, especially if investors continue to think that this is going to be the way that we go, which I think that a little bit longer term, I think that's probably possible. So I would go towards things like what we've been talking about, things that play into the reopening that maybe have continued to have been beaten down. I know Ford's been a little bit of a mover, but that still only has a 10 forward PE of 10. We look at things like Caterpillar and things that are going to benefit from a reopening and some of the infrastructure stuff. There's I ended up getting myself into Dick's today because that pulled back. So retail spending and just that continues to play into the reopening, and their PE is also 10, which is mind blowing considering that's had a pretty nice move too. So there's still a lot that needs to catch up to the rest of the economy, and so there is a lot of good plays out there.
Sorry, I was like looking at my phone. What'd you get into today?
Dick's.
Oh, okay.
Got into Dick's. Don't be nasty.
Did you scoop up a lot of dicks?
Scooped up a lot of dicks.
Huh.
Yep. Sure did.
Full load on dicks?
Yep.
Okay.
All of it. All of the dicks.
I would also say these are also good opportunities. You know, you could obviously risk on spec, but like these are good opportunities to just go to the old reliable stocks.
Yeah.
Especially the FANG, get them on discount.
Get yourself some Apple, man.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about, Amazon had a great move yesterday. So they, pulling back 2.5% is no surprise, but you got Apple nearly 2% pullback.
Yeah.
Meta Platforms 2%. I mean, these to me are the ones that are great opportunities because, they're going to be, you don't have to worry about those from a long-term perspective.
Yeah.
Don Francis no longer the Boston cream in a donut then.
Nope. Just got the dicks. It's down 4%. This is actually a really good opportunity to get in today. So I got in when it was down around 3%. So it didn't quite get the bottom here, but it's sitting right at the 50-day.
So one stock, guys. Anybody watching right now, tell me what's the one you're looking to get into? What's the dip buy or the one you're looking to add on to based on this dip? Throw it in the chat. Maybe you get a shout out. Rajiv said, Brad, Visa Call is doing well on a red day. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
That. Shout out to Super Cal-L. Thanks for the donation. Hey guys, I bought Disney, but it seems like it's going down before earnings later today. How do we know a stock will do good in earnings beforehand? You won't.
You don't. You don't. Yeah. Visa's up 1%. One of the few green stocks today. My Bank of America calls are still hanging in there too. So those are doing well. But yeah, Disney is actually green. So it's starting to make its way back up. And it's been flat on the day. Now it has had a little bit of a move down going into today, but I still feel pretty good about Disney as well. So I'm not expecting any kind of crazy quarter from them from an earnings standpoint. I do have quite a few calls on these. I got a pretty sizable position. One that I'm almost borderline uncomfortable with. So hopefully it goes my way today. I probably hindsight should not have taken that size of position, but it did anyway because I feel confident about Disney. My
what'd you get? What'd you get?
I have 10 calls at 180.
Okay. For when's the expiration?
February.
Okay. So you got a little bit of time.
I got some time. Yeah. So it wasn't like I went crazy.
I mean, you got a lot of time.
Yeah.
In reality.
Yeah, I do. So I mean, if it goes down today, it'll be temporary pain, but I think 180 is reasonable.
What's the next resistance on it?
Next resistance is actually right around 180. So the 200-day moving average is kind of where I was spotting Disney at here, which is sitting right at 180.
Okay.
Share. I actually ended up getting the 180 strike when it was at this 50-day moving average around 175. So down slightly, but nothing too crazy. But any kind of crazy volatile move, and it's going to be really exciting or really depressing.
This is totally off topic, and I just don't want to forget it because I've been meaning to mention it off stream. It's really hard. I wish there was a way to. Is there a way to zoom in on that even if like we take away the left tickers, because like it's really hard on the phone, and even if we can get a little bit more
here.
No, I mean just yeah, I guess that.
I can barely see anything though. For me.
Yeah, I guess you would need it. It's just on the phone, it's like nearly impossible. You could see the general chart, but
yeah.
I wonder if there's something we can do.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, you could see it on the computer. You can definitely see it on the computer, but I feel like over half our people are on the phone.
Yeah.
Let me go back. So what are people checking out? All right. Miguel Monte says, Google, Nathan Chandler, Palantir. We got a few Palantir. Miguel Babonis. Nicroy bought Square today. Snookeroo got Penn. Victor Toledo added to Ford. Randy got Bitcoin. Tim Michigan, yes, Penn is not going into New York as of right now.
Nope.
Kyle McCroy also added to Palantir. Oliver Thorpe added to Palantir, PayPal, DraftKings. Yeah, a lot of Palantir. And who also got into Palantir? Lavraj got into Palantir. Rajiv would add if it dips further. Aunt Kathy bought a ton of Palantir, and I broke this down on my Twitter, Fat Man Zoom, for anybody's interested. Brad's at Own the Chaos. If you're on Twitter, definitely follow us. But over or nearly $1.5 million or 1.5 million shares of Palantir. 1.483 million shares were bought. Over 35, I put million. Yeah, $35 million worth of shares.
Yeah.
RK had the largest position. She bought nearly 1 million shares just in RK, which is insane. So talk about conviction on Aunt Kathy, which we've talked about, and Don and I have talked about online, but we've even said it on the show, like, look for that opportunity. I think it's one of her higher convictions. But yeah, Palantir certainly took the hit as well.
Yeah, the earnings it was interesting. Revenue slowed on the defense side, so it was interesting. Interesting earnings report from them, and so the stock is hasn't been reacting to it very kindly. So it's down around 22.57. I was looking for it to hold around the $23 range, and we're not too far off of that, but kind of surprising to see that this had this much of a reaction down. So it's down 7% on the day just from today. It's down around 20% or so from its day before the earnings. So
yeah,
pretty rough move for Palantir.
All right, so I wanted to take a little bit of time before we talked into Rivian, but let's go ahead and get into the discussion of Rivian. I think we have enough people rolling in. We got a nice little squad. Make sure you hit the thumbs up to give us a little bit of an energy boost going into this conversation. But guys, I mean, I would say this could potentially be the biggest IPO of the year. It certainly had a lot of hype behind it. Rivian IPO today. To no one's surprise, it opened above the IPO price, which was what, $78?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that, and what's it currently doing?
The reaction doesn't come to any surprise. This is moving and looking exactly like Coinbase did on its IPO day. It's a pretty typical IPO reaction. And I have no interest in getting into it anytime soon unless it pulls back to even somewhere close to the vicinity of 78. And even then I'd have to ask myself if it's worth it yet. But it actually is the biggest of the year market cap wise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting stuff. It's actually one of the first traditional IPO EVs, right? And since Tesla.
Neo I think was 2018.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've been seeing like SPACs happen, but this one is going to be really interesting. We talk about this. We might YOLO an IPO, but like by no means do we. I don't remember the last like IPO either one of us gotten from like a long-term investment perspective.
Airbnb was for me, but I was in and out and then got back in.
You got in on IPO day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We were both live. Just like it was last December.
Yeah, that wasn't my long-term investing account, but but you didn't get it in your long-term investing account. You just did it in your trading account.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Sorry.
I just mean like, we might just try to trade it for a quick flip. But like what we normally talk about is, usually after the first, and you could look at IPO, like look at historic IPOs. Like a lot of people were saying this was the biggest one since Facebook. Look at Facebook. If you look at Facebook's IPO, we usually wait till the first quarter and you'll usually see a profit taking sell off. Obviously, you want to know when you can sell the shares. What is the phrase I'm looking for when they release
the offering? Or a lockup?
Lockup period, which I don't know what it is or when it will be, but knowing that those are usually key indicators when when IPO happens, that like you'll see a sell off.
Yeah.
And so this is one thing that is without question. An IPO, there will always be opportunities that are given to you as long as you're patient, and it's no different. I don't expect it to be any different with Rivian.
Yeah, I don't either. Look, and just to give perspective, here is Facebook. First week, this is a weekly chart, so each candle represents 1 week. So in the week following Facebook's IPO, it got cut in half. It's went all the way up to $37 a share. It's so crazy to think about Facebook at 30. And then it went all the way down to $17, and then their earnings finally came out, and this actually started to make that epic move. This is one of the first like $100 billion IPOs one of the first $100 billion IPOs.
And I remember when it went under 20, I remember distinctly because everybody was freaking out.
Yeah, it was big news.
Yeah. But that wasn't that move. How many earnings had it been? Was it just one? Was that the first earnings or had it already had an earnings?
This right here?
Yeah.
That looks to be about a quarter. I don't know. This was June 1st. And then we have, July 26th. So probably was their first earnings.
Wait, that's a month from there to there?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a year.
Okay.
Jesus. Yeah, it's a year. So this is a weekly chart. So
it
took a year for it to actually start to move.
So just for perspective, now there was a little bit of a push up, but still that was, it looks like about almost 6 months before you reverse trend. But yeah, just things to consider. So even though Rivian has the key phrases and the headlines like EV, great, obviously Ford Amazon partnership, the reality is that it's not going to be immune to just market reality. And so, if you're patient, I'm sure that opportunity will come. I have no interest, unless there's like a big sell-off. I typically don't even try to look until after earnings seems like a good spot, especially a company like this. And Brad, I spent a lot of time breaking down these numbers, so I just want to share them.
Yeah.
And let us know while I'm pulling this up. Let us know if you got into it. What was your entry? Sitting at it's under 100, right around 100 right now. What was your entry? And what are you looking to do about it? But Rivian, and I want this fact checked because I kind of ran this rough shot, but they expect to deliver 50,000 vehicles by 2025. And I'm just, forget about EV, forget about anything. You're talking about $100 billion valuation, right? It's around $100 billion. And they have $1.2 billion that they're going to potentially accrue in losses this quarter and $1 million in revenue.
And this offering will give them around $12 billion.
So, which, you're talking about a quarterly loss of $1 billion. I would imagine you're going to try to put this cash to work. Like if you scale, you may incur more losses.
They're with this capital, they plan to start another plant with it.
Yeah. So that 1.2 billion is more likely to increase than decrease. So regarding that, you talk about $1 million comparatively to 1.2 billion. Now you're obviously playing the forward, but $1 million is pennies.
Yeah,
is nothing. So let's talk about the future. So 2025, and we've talked about technology and technology moving forward. Technology moves really quickly. So 4 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Where do you think EVs, this is a rhetorical question, I don't need an answer, but where do you think EVs can go from 2022, let's just say, to 2025? That's a long time. By 2025, they expect to deliver 50,000 vehicles a year. That's not anything to sort of like downplay, but 50,000 vehicles a year, that is $3.5 billion in revenue, roughly. And I just took a $70,000 average vehicle cost. Mm-hmm. For context, I think Tesla is like the one you gravitate towards to look at. Revenue for Tesla, the last 12 months is $46 billion. The last 12 months. So where we sit now is $46 billion. comparatively to 3.5 billion 3 years from now for Rivian, Tesla projects to deliver what they've said, 5 million vehicles by 2025. And that amounts to $230 billion. And that's an average of $46,000 per unit. So I kind of went a little bit more conservative on that, not including full self-driving revenue, which we've both said we think is going to be a huge revenue opportunity
for both companies, FYI.
For both companies, what?
Full self-driving.
Yeah, I mean, yes. But you talk about that Tesla's cost, like Tesla's full self-driving is going to be within those 3 years. I'm not sure if Rivian's going to be in those 3 years.
Yeah, it was. They had it in their S1, but it was kind of like left blank. Like they didn't include that in their potential revenue.
I mean, pretty much every EV is going to have expectations of having full self-driving.
Yeah, but
they're getting revenue right now of full self-driving. So revenue of full self-driving, obviously semis or Cybertruck. So not even taking any of that, just looking at those. And obviously Rivian could add more, but that's the reality of the situation. So when you look at it, we've talked about this with pretty much every single EV company. They're trying to play catch up.
Yep.
Tesla's going to expand their lead. So again, if you have $1,000, do you buy, or let's say $1,500, do you buy Rivian or do you just buy Tesla for the next 5 years? I don't know.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, what did you say? 50,000 to 5 million vehicles delivered. That's 10% of what Tesla is doing, right?
Correct. We'll be doing.
The market cap's 10% of what Tesla's actually is.
Currently, yes.
Okay. I mean,
you can't help yourself.
Neither one of those valuations make any sense. But you start throwing around weird numbers, and it's like, oh well. I guess it's not so bad, and that's what these crazy ass hedge funds are doing. Like they're buying something that has an insane valuation, but if it's valuable to them, they're going to pay for it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously, they are, and obviously there's hype behind it. But regardless, I mean, I get it. I'm just using the data, and the reality is that. The reality is that it's $1 million. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whatever you use as far as like 10 to 1, that's unbelievable. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. There's no doubt. We've mentioned it a bunch of times. Tesla is due for a pullback. Nobody's doubting that.
No.
But there's people that are in Tesla. People aren't buying Tesla now, right? Like nobody's saying, like, obviously there are people buying them in theory.
Who just upgraded it to 1,400 Jeffries?
What? Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, like, people are still buying it.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, it's not like Tesla's new. We've been talking about Tesla for a year. Yeah. We've been talking about Tesla at what price? Pre-split.
Yeah, forever.
So it's not like we're talking about Rivian today. It starts at $100.
Yeah.
So if it goes up, it's going to close the gap with Tesla. I would imagine when it starts its move back up. I think the reality for any IPO, which you're not in Rivian, right?
No,
wanted to double check.
Not even thinking about it.
Because why?
It's too high.
Yeah. So
and the only thing that I think that Rivian will have going for it is and it doesn't really make sense to me, is like, why doesn't Amazon just buy them already? They own 20% of them. They were planning on buying more today or throughout this week, more Rivian, even at these prices, because they want to continue to invest in this company. If you guys haven't heard, Amazon wants to basically make them, buy a lot. They already have 100,000 order of 100,000 fleet vehicles from Rivian. And so I don't know why don't they just buy them. To me, this seems like Jeff Bezos kind of creeping in, being like, I'm going to start, flexing on Elon. And so like, if they continue to just invest money in the Rivian, maybe the narrative changes a little bit, but that's the only situation in which I could see that happening.
I mean, how much would you buy them for? I don't even know if
I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
if their valuation is $100 billion, you have to pay a multiple.
I mean, at this rate, they already are. I mean, I don't know how much more they're planning on buying, but let's just say it's a third. I mean, that's a shit ton.
Yeah. I just don't even know if I think it's impossible with the capital.
Yeah. Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, cause I mean, listen, hopefully like it could make sense for a takeover target acquisition. Maybe that does happen down the road. Maybe they end up continuing to build the stake. But also, I mean, there's no guarantees that they will obviously end up being around. I mean, that's the other reality about
being
things as well.
Successful in this market, in this industry, is ridiculously hard. What Tesla was able to do was unheard of. There's plenty of other American auto manufacturers that tried to make it in the U.S. and the barrier to entry was so tough with the big three, and it was just crazy to see that Tesla was able to do that. So for another new car manufacturer to make it in the U.S. just seems like it's a really tall hill to climb without a lot of help.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of comments here. I want to tackle some of these comments, get you guys feedback on this. First, Changing Frames. Welcome back to the Chaos Crew.
Hell yeah.
Nate says in 4 years, EVs will be able to fly. Don't doubt that.
Maybe.
Rivian doesn't make sense at this level, not falling for FOMO. Yeah. I mean, how much do you think the hype is around? Like, let me back up. Neither one of these companies, Tesla or Rivian, is a buy for us.
No.
Okay. So let's be clear on that. But just having this conversation, how much does it, Don makes a joke, at least they have a car before IPO. It almost feels like the market is grasping for anything. Like, finally we have a car. Like, yeah, let's pour money because it's more realistic that this will continue to grow.
Personally, I still think that Ford's the one. If you don't want to buy Tesla, I still think that Ford is the one to go after. The PE makes sense. The F-150 Lightning, I think, will actually crush all pickup EVs, period, and that includes Tesla, unless they come up with one that's a working truck, not something like the Cybertruck. And I think that's what's going to be kind of Ford's claim to fame, so to speak, and then they'll obviously work their way in. And we've seen some success with the Mach-E, which Rivian had their hand in, by the way. They helped build a lot of the Mach-E. But I think also Ford may actually end up selling all of their Rivian stake.
Yeah, Jonathan Schreiber said something along the same lines regarding Ford. If you're not earning Tesla, either start in Ford. Mentions Lucid as well. Yeah, I mean, I think the good thing about Ford is Tesla's not trying to compete with them. So like the other competitors, you're not going to beat Tesla. And Ford could carve a nice little niche. So yeah, I mean, I certainly think that's an opportunity for people as well. At the end of the day, my thought process has always been, can a legacy company adapt their technology to beyond obviously they can build the Lightning, but can they adapt their technology to scale and be able to stay cutting edge? That remains to be seen. But if any of the legacy companies, I would definitely put my money on Ford. Jeff Panika says Tesla. Alonzo Gutierrez says just buy Nikola. Oliver Thorpe thinks you should wait for Rivian to drop at least to 50, if not below. People getting crazy with anything EV related. They won't all succeed. They certainly won't all succeed. And listen, these new companies aren't going to have a straight line to wherever. So you could predict 5,000. The percentage of likelihood that Tesla's going to reach 5 million vehicles in 2025 is far higher than Rivian reaching 5,000. There's going to be hiccups along the way, obviously delays and things that are going to be out of their control. So those are all things that you consider as well. Everybody wait for Tesla. That's the common sentiment, is wait for Tesla.
Yeah.
Rajiv got into Tesla yesterday through a long-term deep cut sell put. It's a lot safer way to play. People buy brands, not just any old EV. Yeah. Oliver Thorpe thinks legacy makers will make an EV comeback that people aren't expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not discounting Volkswagen in the least. Any of the Germans over there are crushing it. Have you seen the Mercedes EV? It looks sick.
I haven't seen that, but I've seen the Volkswagen EV in real life, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think Volkswagen's going to crush EV game. I'm sure Mercedes will be awesome. That's obviously from the premium end.
Yeah.
You would imagine that they would compete with this.
Marquez Brownlee also drove the Porsche Taycan.
Yeah.
He gave a really unbiased review of it, I thought, and really kind of highlighted some of the quality that Porsche put into their vehicle versus Tesla, like some of the manufacturing differences and just the difference in quality, like initial quality, like you're sitting in the vehicle and it just feels better. So this isn't to say that Tesla is going anywhere because they're not. But I think that there's definitely going to be room for some of these other auto manufacturers, Porsche, especially on the German side of things, that could certainly carve their space too. So there's lots of real estate, and I think Tesla's going to have the most of it. But these other companies aren't going away.
Scott Sherwood is a little bummed, saying that GGPI is still being ignored. That hasn't reverse merged yet, has it? Or am I totally off on this? That's Polestar.
Yeah.
I don't think they've had their reverse merger date.
No. Still nothing on them.
Yeah. So I think that's the real issue with GGPI right now. But I would have, we talked about this with IPOF 1067. Your SPAC. That would be an interesting one to check out as well. But
I took my money and ran today on that.
On GGPI?
No, on
IPOF.
Yeah.
The Benz EV is at 129. Well, that's actually not. It's an SUV. Is it an SUV?
What's that?
The Benz EV?
No, it's a sedan.
Oh, is it a sedan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 129. There you go. Tesla already have a recall on the 3 and Y. They all have recalls.
Yeah, I was going to say. Tesla's the only one that actually makes headlines that people are concerned about. All of them have recalls, though.
All right, the market is now closed, and we move towards earnings. I'll give you guys the quick rundown. Again, if you weren't here before, we have Opendoor, Nuvei, Disney, Affirm, Wish, BYND, Tattooed Chef. And SoFi. I can't believe I forgot that. That's SoFi. Really exciting. Where do you want to start?
Wish
is loss of 10 cents earnings per share, $374 million expected. Or
stock is up 5% already after hours. Wondering if those numbers might be in. So we got some movement on that. We'll continue to check in on that. Right now, Disney's moving a little bit after hours. I don't know if this is actually anything substantial or not. Might be. Might be seeing some movement on Disney. You guys are looking at the 1 minute chart here on Disney and all of the earnings that we have out. Bumble also has earnings. We didn't talk about that, but that's up 2.5%. Looks like that just kind of gapped up out of nowhere, but no real volume there just yet. So we're just going to continue to watch on that. We also have Root. I don't know if anybody was interested in Root, but that has earnings today too. We'll keep an eye on that. Tattooed Chef is up 1.5%. Opendoor is now up 2%. This is looking like it might be, it's early, might be a little bit better than yesterday's earnings, because yesterday afternoon was brutal. Affirm, after having a damn near 20%, it was 15% on the days where it closed at. It was down on the Mastercard news, but it is now up 4% after hours.
What was the Mastercard news?
Mastercard came out. What was the Mastercard news? They signed more partners for their buy now pay later platform. Okay. So and then Affirm responded to that, and then obviously the rest of the market and Affirm's high multiple, of course, was also a factor because of the 10-year and all that good stuff. So it just had a really rough day, but it is up here after hours. We'll see what those earnings look like. Wish is still up now 3.5%. I think those numbers got to be out, I would imagine. Looking at a couple other things that have earnings, Beyond Meat has 30% short interest, Fat Man Zoom. And I won't argue with the short sellers here. It's probably for good reason. It's trading at $94 a share. It's down 20% on the year. It's been having a rough go. But this could potentially be a Wall Street Bets candidate, just given the amount of short interest that's in on Beyond Meat. So we'll see if they have any kind of decent news. Might see some action on Beyond Meat too. So that's certainly one to keep an eye on. I don't like the company, and I can't blame anybody who wants to short sell this, but there's a lot of interest on it for sure.
Yeah, their expected earnings per share, a loss of 39 cents, and revenues were drastically lower from last quarter, $106 million in revenue. So one would wonder, did they lower the bar to try to get over it, or is this just an indication of what's to come as far as lowering revenue?
Yeah,
slowdown, because you haven't really. I remember this time last year, all the hype was up BYND, Beyond Meat, and then even in the stores, you would see it. They haven't really done too much that I know of lately. So we'll see. But last quarter, they came in at 150 million. Now they're estimating 106 million. So if this is below 100, it could get ugly.
Damn. You wonder if it's just like the fad that's kind of fading.
Yeah.
You know, it seemed like every day you were hearing about how they were in all these restaurants and McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and like all these other areas. But you really don't hear that anymore. And so I wonder if it was more or less a fad that has now just faded. And it sure seems like that's the case for Beyond Meat. And now it is down. So the short sellers making some money right now. It's actually, let me go back to the 1 minute chart here. It is down 6% after hours. Looks like those earnings might be out for Beyond Meat.
Checking out BYND right now.
Somebody mentioned something about Hims.
Hims and Hers.
Yeah. I didn't realize they had earnings today. Let me add that here. Yeah, that's up 7.5%. Hims is. Okay. Tattooed Chef tanking as well. Oh my goodness. Beyond Meat down on 10, 11% and still falling.
Wow. All right.
Opendoor is now up 8.5% after hours.
Hell yeah.
Are you in Opendoor?
Opendoor, I am in, yes. I just have shares of Opendoor.
Looks like things are getting kind of brutal out there. So we have Hims that's up around 8%. Opendoor's up now 11% and climbing here. Tattooed Chef is down quite a bit. Beyond Meat's down 10%. Affirm is flat. SoFi is flat. Disney is now down 2.5%. And Wish is up 10% and climbing. Scott's got the earnings on Disney. Is this right? 18.53 billion, expected 18.7. So they missed on revenue, it looks like. And earnings per share, they also missed.
50 cents was the estimate. What did it come in at?
37.
Ooh. Disney subscribers missed as well. It was 119.6 million expected, came in at 118.1. Slightly missed there. Well, slightly missed by a million.
Yeah. The CEO of Disney actually warned everybody that this is what they were expecting, that they were going to be expecting a down quarter. Now, some analysts were not expecting that. They were expecting an increase there, but obviously you can see that it's down. But the story's not over. It's still early. I want to see what their outlook is for the coming quarter and the quarter after, especially as things continue to reopen up here. So I'm going to be hanging on to Disney. I'm not going to sell it here, even if we end up having a rough couple of days after their earnings. I'm just going to continue to hang on to Disney because I think the story is not done to be written there. Looking at Wish, though, man, it's up 12% here after hours. You guys are looking at the Wish chart right now. Context Logic, really strong move there. Opendoor is now up 13%, and it's a little bit all over the place, but that thing is rocking.
Is Nuvei doing anything?
I don't have, what is that? NVVE?
Yeah. I think they could be in a world of hurt.
Oh, really?
They've had a run up. I think they're due for some profit taking. It's a small company, so if they beat,
nothing on them just yet.
Okay.
Really low volume day for them. Affirm is taking the hell off. Giving back all of its losses today already. It's up 13% here after hours.
Which, ironically enough, they missed a loss of 30 cents where the estimates came in at a loss of $1.13. However, they did beat on sales. Estimates were $248 million, came in at $269 million.
So it's the growth story that's getting investors buying this up. So, but that is a terrible miss on earnings per share.
Yeah.
That is a really bad miss, despite the earnings growth or the revenue growth. SoFi is on the move here after hours now as well. That's up 5% and climbing here. Woo! Look at that move. All right, what a move. It's still going up here. It's now up 8% after hours. If you guys are just tuning in, we got 273 of you guys in the house watching us live, so we appreciate you hanging out. Oh, that's climbing. We're up to 300 now. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up, we certainly would appreciate it. Right now, we're covering the earnings that are happening right now. So SoFi, we're just reacting to that, and it's up 8%. Affirm is up now only around 12%. Opendoor is continuing to climb, my man. It's now up 14% after hours.
Man, Chamath is feeling good today so far.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Pretty good move. Any numbers from anything yet?
I'm looking for SoFi.
Let's take a look back at SoFi here.
Don't have SoFi's yet. And surprisingly, Wishes hasn't come in yet.
Huh. Okay. Beyond Meat's still selling off. It is now down 11% after hours. Looks like short sellers were on the money with that one. Tattooed Chef also getting wrecked. It's down to $16 a share.
What percentage is that down?
It's down 3.7% after already being down 3% on the day.
So BYND missed in both. Earnings per share, 41 cents, a loss of 41 cents expected, came in at a loss of 87 cents, 100% miss. 111 million expected on revenue, came in at 106.4 million.
Yeah, pretty tough miss after already lowering the guidance.
Yeah.
Opendoor still ripping, man. It's now up 17.5% after hours. This looks like it's the big winner so far in earnings today.
Tattooed Chef to reschedule. Is this true? To reschedule earnings?
Oh, really?
I'm trying to confirm this.
Rajiv says, Wish beat earnings per share but missed revenue. Guides for quarter four lower. So maybe he found them somewhere. Zane Khan looks like only got half the earnings there. Let's get the earnings per share out too. Still looking on Opendoor's earnings. Now it's up 21% after hours.
Yeah, Wish. Wait, did you give the numbers for Wish?
No.
Oh.
That was just what Rajiv had said, that they beat earnings per share and raised their guidance.
Yeah, the whole information not.
Did Open buy all of Zillow's houses on the cheap? Probably, Don.
Okay, so yeah, here we go for Wish. Beat earnings per share, loss of 10 cents was the expectation, came in at a loss of 5. Misses on revenue. Revenues 374 million, came in at $368 million.
And they lowered their guidance. The stock is still up 11%, which is a bit confusing to me, but all right, good on you, anybody who's got Wish.
Opendoor. Sorry, not Opendoor, Affirm. Did I give the Affirm numbers yet? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you said that they missed on earnings per share. They beat on revenue.
So they raised their fiscal year slightly. This is such a scam.
Affirm did?
Yeah, it's a scam. They raised it from 1.22 to 1.23.
Knocking it out of the park, guys.
It's like you're just raising it to raise it.
Yeah.
Like to try to like focus on something else.
Uh-huh. We know it sucked, but here, look at this.
Yeah. Which ones have we not gotten yet?
Opendoor's numbers.
Beats on revenue. Hold on. Here we go. So Opendoor, a loss of 1 cent was the estimate. Revenue was $2 billion. Came in at 9 cents positive.
Oh, wow.
And beat on revenue. 2.01 billion was the estimate. Came in at 2.27 billion.
So this move makes sense. That's a monster beat here. The stock's now up 20%. Really nice move for Opendoor. Did we cover SoFi's yet? SoFi's earnings?
I don't believe so.
They're up around 3%. It looked like they were up around as high as 5% after hours, but still hanging in there.
Nothing yet
on Affirm or on SoFi. So, guys, if you're just tuning in, we got about 289 of you guys hanging out. So, thanks so much for allowing us to be a part of your afternoon. We're going over a lot of the earnings and giving our reactions to those. If you're just tuning in, we did cover Disney. They missed on revenue. They missed on earnings per share. They also missed on the expectations for subscribers with their Disney Plus platform. So, not a great quarter, but not really all that surprising. So, for me personally, as an investor in Disney, I have a long-term investment in Disney as well. But I do have calls on this way out to February. I think that the story is going to be the growth story moving forward. So we'll continue to watch that. Disney right now is down like 5%. So pretty rough stuff for Disney so far. That being said, Wish came in and they beat on earnings per share and revenue, but lower guidance. And then SoFi, we're still waiting on those numbers, but the stock is now moving back up 6.5%. Affirm came in and missed earnings per share horribly. But you can see on the 1 minute chart, this actually is a perfect bull flag pattern on the 1 minute chart and is now breaking out of that. So it's continuing to go up higher. It's now at 15%. They slightly raised guidance minimally, and then they actually beat on revenue substantially. So it's weird. They had some pretty interesting losses there on such a big revenue beat.
I have the SoFi numbers. Loss of earnings, expected loss of 11 cents for earnings per share, came in at a loss of 5 cents. They beat on that, and they beat on revenue. Expected 263 million, came in at 272 million.
Wow. Pretty good beat for SoFi as well. This probably continues to go up tomorrow.
Yeah.
It closed down 7% today and is now up 8% after hours. And that's probably going to go much higher. Pretty crazy beat there. Affirm too. Affirm basically is giving back all of its losses on the day. Now up 16, almost 17%. This has been a favorite of ours. The company itself, I still think that the price here is just way too high. But hey, if you stuck in, or if you ended up buying the dip today, it's paying off. Paying off in a big way. Opendoor is also up still and continuing to climb, up 22%.
Whew. I think they had like 70% increase in house purchases. I know that Don had mentioned, did Opendoor buy all the Zillow houses?
Maybe they did.
Latif asks, is Disney a buy at 165?
That's a good question. Yes, I would say that it is. I actually was looking at it at 166. We come out at the daily chart, and I actually had this area marked here for quite a while. This 166, 167 area has seemed to have been a pretty solid support for Disney, really for the better part of a year. So I think that holds that area. So just be careful there, though. Obviously, the reaction here is quite strong to Disney on that quarter. But we'll see where it lands. I think that 165, 166 should be that area that it holds. But if it doesn't, it may, in fact, actually get a lot uglier. But we'll see. I'm pretty confident it should hold that area.
Hims up 6%?
Yes. We'll take a look at that.
Was Hims a SPAC?
I believe it was. Yeah. I think so. That stock is up 6% after hours. It closed the day down 3%. So more than giving back those losses. So pretty mixed afternoon. This afternoon, I'll tell you what, it's way better than yesterday.
So Hims consensus. So they missed on earnings per share. Loss of 6 cents, came in a loss of 8. However, they did beat in revenue and showed really good growth. So consensus was 70.5 million, came in at 74.2 million. exceeded guidance, raised guidance. Sorry, let me look at this. Oh, so they raised guidance for fiscal year 2021, and it looks like, decent growth on subscribers and orders, about 25%.
So that's pretty good. Stock is continuing to climb. It's now up 8.23% after hours. Pretty solid move for him.
Don said, I'm in the 150s January for Disney, and I'm adding tomorrow. Why? Kashan asked, why is Wish dropping in post-market? Weird.
Wishes?
Yeah, I guess he said that.
Well, they lowered their guidance. Honestly, don't think it should even be.
But they're up. Or I guess they're pulling back, I think is the question he's asking.
Yeah. I don't even actually think it should be green at this point, but here we are. Beyond Meat is continuing to sell off. If you guys were hoping for some good earnings for there, I got bad news for you. They missed everywhere, even after, basically lowering the standard here. 30% short interest, and it's still winning at this point. So I'd imagine that short interest probably increases after tomorrow as well.
SWW says Wish might be the worst IPO in recent times.
Yeah. Was at $30 at one point.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. This year it was at $30.
We got a decent amount of people in SoFi. Congrats to you all. They're still crushing it, right?
Yeah, it's up 7.5% so far.
Good. Tammy Johnson asked, do you think Affirm will have a pullback now?
I would imagine so, but like this is being so crazy. I wouldn't be long or short on Affirm right now. We take a look at that daily chart, and it's just craziness. Good for Affirm though. They had a rough go at it for a long time, and I had been accumulating a position down here in the 50s and 60s, and had an average price of around 61. And it went off. It went crazy. And I took my profits after it went up into the 120s. Felt really good about it. And it still kept ripping. And I'm not mad about it because I had a hell of a trade on this thing. But I just think it's too high up here right now, especially with some of the losses they're still taking on that crazy ass growth. Bumble's down 3.5%. They had earnings today too. Tammy Johnson says, have you seen Beyond Meat in the grocery store? It looks like dog food. They don't do a really good job of making it look appealing. I will say that. I would agree with you, Tammy.
Yeah, that is very true.
Affirm's still ripping. Holy shit. Look at this. It's up now 23% after hours. It's still going. Congrats to anybody in Affirm right now. Whew. That's the big winner of the day. Here I thought it was going to be Affirm or Opendoor. And Affirm just ripped right past it. It's now up 24%. And continuing to climb here. What a move.
Don said a few commenting about MQ. No, it's just the same person made two comments. But we'll look at it.
What's
MQ Marquetta? Apparently they had earnings as well.
No.
We got you, Rajiv.
It's up 10%, 11%.
Shows 56% jump in net revenue year over year. Continued growth. Just had a partnership with Bill.com. I don't really know this company.
I don't either. I don't know anything about it.
Look this up real quick.
Engaged in providing modern card issuing and payment processing solutions. So I guess kind of like in the space of Square, maybe Square, PayPal, that industry, perhaps.
Yeah. The company offers solutions such as on-demand services, buy now, pay later, expense management.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
I just don't. Its customers include businesses like Affirm, DoorDash, Instacart, Klarna, and Square. It looks like they create the interface for card payment processing solutions.
The chart looks ugly. I'll say that, but it's up 10.5%. So it's rocking today.
You got Affirm as your partner.
Yeah. I mean,
DoorDash have all the right ones.
Yep, they sure do. So, yeah, I'd have to take a look at it a little bit further. But I guess if Affirm does well, then so does Marqeta. Speaking of Affirm, it's still looking pretty good here. It's up 24%. SoFi is continuing to move too. That's actually looking pretty good. Now up double digits. That's up 12.5% here as well and continuing to climb. That looks great. All right.
Jay Season says Marquette is a dope company.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it a little bit more.
They work with Uber, Square, JP Morgan. Okay, yeah. So they create the interface.
Yeah, that makes sense now. Look at this. SoFi's continuing to climb. SoFi's up. Opendoor is still up 20%, and Affirm's now up over 24%. So pretty solid day for those three companies. Wish is still hanging in there. Disney was the big one for me personally, and it's down 4%. So that's going to hurt tomorrow. Beyond Meat's still selling off. That's down 16%. So I guess it could be worse. Tattooed Chef's also down 4% as well. And Bumble's continuing to fall. I thought Bumble was actually going to do pretty good this quarter, but they did not either. So pretty interesting day, Fat Man Zoom. Any thoughts on any of these?
No, I mean, I'm a little bit, I'm extremely disappointed in Disney, but this presents an opportunity that I think will pay off for those who have patience. And
yeah,
I have no doubt the next quarter will boom. The thing is, we've got to move past the whole focus on subscribers, in my opinion. I think it's like a little bit overdone. I get it.
Yeah.
I think people got a little ahead of themselves and wanted to crown Disney. We've talked about this. You know, they're not, as much as they ramped up, the reality is like, you know, it's a bell curve like anything else. Like you see that ramp up, they're not going to sustain that. When it's easy to think back and be like, oh, they're going to pass Netflix with this rate of growth. But any new streaming company is going to see a pop in the beginning, and certainly they will be number two, and maybe one day they pass Disney. But Netflix is still king. And the reality is Disney is not a streaming company. That's just the reality of it. It's still about their parks. It's still about their entertainment, and streaming is going to be a huge part of that. But it's so much more than that. I think it's a fundamental mistake just to focus on streaming and be disappointed because maybe they're not going to get a ton of streamers between this quarter and the next.
I agree. I think it's BS to kind of go to just solely base their performance off of that. That being said, Disney has Disney Plus Day tomorrow, celebrating their 2-year anniversary of Disney Plus, and they're going to be announcing some new content and some things that are coming in the future. So maybe they kind of knew that it was going to be a little bit rough, and so tomorrow we could see a pretty decent bounce. We shall see, but I'm still confident in Disney. I'm going to continue to hang on to it. Those calls are pretty far out, so I got a lot of time to let Disney sort itself out.
Yeah.
But kind of disappointing, but it is what it is.
Well, that shit happens.
Sure does.
At least you're not Nate. Nate bought SoFi yesterday thinking that earnings were yesterday. And so it sold off today, 7%. And he sold. So sorry about your luck, brother. There'll be another one.
Oh, Nate. Jeez, a whiz, man.
No, but that's it, guys. Looking towards tomorrow. What do we have on the docket tomorrow? As far as earnings are concerned, Sundial, Blink, any other ones? I think that's pretty much the main one. Not huge ones tomorrow. But in the morning, we have Yeti, which we're both excited about.
Yeah.
Wix.com, maybe you're interested in. PaySafe, maybe you're interested in. Today was a big day. Tomorrow, we'll see how the market goes. But we will be back here undoubtedly at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And if you liked any of these stocks, a lot of these have showed up on our watch list. Make sure you check out our free daily watch list. Free, guys. Free. 5 stocks that we send out every morning before the market opens. Click on the link in the description or go to ownthechaos.com to claim your free watch list.
All right, guys, that's going to do for us. Thanks so much for hanging out. Tomorrow, we'll go over some more of the crazy inflation data. I'm sure there'll be more to chat about. But for now, we'll see you at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. It's Friday day.
Bye.
Bye.
Affirm open.